Prayer is not begging. Prayer is alignment. When you pray, you are not asking the universe for favors. You are remembering who you are. You are affirming that you are already one with the energy of abundance, health, love, and success. Louise Hay always reminded us that the words we speak become the house we live in. So speak beauty, speak love, speak wealth. Prayer is the sacred doorway. And the key is in your words, your energy, and your unwavering belief that the universe is always listening. So many of us were taught to pray in fear, but true prayer is power, not pleading. When you speak affirmations like, "I am open to receiving all good," you are shifting from lack to love. Louise taught us that we must release resistance, the fear, the doubt, the guilt, and let the divine flow through us. Your desires are not selfish. They are seeds planted in your heart by Source itself. Prayer is watering those seeds with faith, trust, and joyful expectation. If you want to manifest abundance, begin by affirming abundance within. Say it aloud. I am worthy of wealth. I am deserving of success. Money flows easily and freely into my life. Do not just say these words, feel them. Louise believed in the power of mirror work. Look into your own eyes and declare your truth. This is not about forcing the universe. This is about aligning your vibration with what already belongs to you. Every prayer is a declaration of identity. So pray not as someone who is empty, but as someone who is full of light. I am whole. I am guided. I am loved. These are not just statements. They are spiritual laws in motion. When you pray, see yourself surrounded by golden light. Imagine that your request has already been answered. Because in the energetic realm, it already has. Your belief is what brings it into form. The secret is to pray from the end. Not to pray for healing, but to pray as if healed. Not to ask for abundance, but to declare, I live in abundant flow. This is what Louise taught, that the universe responds not to your need, but to your vibration. And when you pray with faith, when you speak with love, and when you expect the best, the universe has no choice but to rise and meet you where you are. Let today be your reset. Choose to pray with power. Speak affirmations with courage. Know that your desires are divine and your abundance is inevitable. Louise Hay reminded us, life loves you, and when you begin to love yourself enough to believe, to affirm, to declare, and to receive, miracles move, doors open, and the life you've been praying for begins to manifest before your very eyes. When we think of prayer, many of us imagine a moment of desperation, a kneeling in sorrow, hoping that something or someone will hear us and rescue us. But Louise Hay taught us to see prayer differently, not as an act of begging, but as a process of realignment. Prayer is not a cry for help. It is a powerful affirmation that we are already connected to the abundance we seek. The moment we pray with conviction, with the belief that what we desire already exists in the unseen, we shift from a place of need to a place of knowing. And that shift changes everything. We don't need to chase blessings when we learn to align with them. They are already seeking us. Our job is simply to become a match for them. Imagine walking into a room and turning on a radio. You don't beg the station to play your song, you simply tune the dial to the right frequency. That's what prayer does. It tunes your inner frequency to match the vibration of your desires. Whether it's peace, love, success, or healing, these energies are already flowing in the universe. When you speak your affirmations with faith and love, you dial into them. You're not asking the universe to create something new for you. You're saying, I am now ready to receive what has always been mine. This is the essence of spiritual alignment, becoming energetically available to what you've asked for. There is a quiet but unshakable power that comes from praying with certainty. Not a certainty that forces, but one that flows. When you say, "Oh, I am healthy," or "I am abundant," you are not lying to yourself. You are speaking a deeper truth, a truth that lives beyond circumstances. Louise Hay reminded us that the body responds to our thoughts, and so does life. When you begin to speak from the end, to talk as if your prayers have already been answered, you create an inner world where doubt cannot live. And the outer world will, in time, reflect that transformation. Life is a mirror, and prayer is the language that tells it what to reflect. Too often, we sabotage our prayers by layering them with fear, doubt, or unworthiness. We say, "Please help me," but secretly believe we're undeserving. That contradiction blocks the flow. But when we declare, "I am worthy of miracles," we step into our divine power. Louise Hay was a pioneer in teaching people to believe in their worth, to look in the mirror and say, "I love you," until it becomes real. When prayer comes from self-love instead of self-pity, it becomes magnetic, it becomes bold. It becomes a sacred declaration that we are one with the universe, and what we desire also desires us. Prayer from alignment doesn't come from a broken place. It comes from wholeness. Even when we feel lost or hurt, the prayer of alignment is not, "Fix me," but, "Guide me back to my truth." It honors the divine intelligence within us. Instead of pleading with life, we speak in harmony with it. We move from fear to faith, from lack to love, from confusion to clarity. And in this sacred place of alignment, even the most impossible dreams begin to stir and move. The energy that once felt heavy becomes light, and we begin to walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that we are held, heard, and honored. So when you next speak your prayers, whether aloud, silently, or through journaling, let them be declarations of identity, not cries of lack. Let them begin with trust, not tension. Say, "I am ready. I am aligned. I receive with gratitude." This is the secret Louise Hay whispered into millions of hearts. Speak as if you already are the version of yourself you dream of becoming. And then watch the universe catch up to your truth. Because the moment you align, the miracle is already in motion. Your words are not just sounds, they are creative forces, alive with energy and purpose. Louise Hay believed deeply that every single word you speak is an affirmation, either building your future or repeating your past. The universe doesn't differentiate between what you want and what you don't want. It simply responds to the vibration of your words. When you say, "I can't," "I never," or "I'm not good enough," you are planting seeds of limitation. Over time, these words grow into beliefs, and those beliefs shape the world you live in. But the miracle begins when you become aware. When you realize that your language is not only a reflection of your inner state, but a tool to change it. We often underestimate how casually we speak negativity into our lives. How many times have you said, "I'm broke," or "I'm always tired," without even thinking? These statements may feel harmless, but energetically, they are declarations, affirmations you unknowingly repeat until they become your reality. Louise Hay emphasized that awareness is the first step to transformation. When you catch yourself using words that limit, shame, or criticize, you have the power to pause and choose differently. The shift is subtle, but powerful. Instead of "I'm tired," try "I am restoring my energy." Instead of "I can't afford that," say "I am attracting financial abundance." These changes feel small, but they create entirely new energetic patterns that life responds to. Speaking with intention isn't about ignoring reality. It's about creating a new one. The words you choose are the foundation upon which your future is built. Louise taught that when you affirm what you want with clarity, emotion, and repetition, the subconscious begins to accept it as truth. And once your subconscious is on board, everything else aligns. That's why affirmations like "I am worthy," "I am loved," or "I am open to miracles" are not just feel-good phrases. They are mental training, spiritual programming, and vibrational blueprints. You are not faking it. You are faithfully forming the life you desire, word by word, thought by thought. Louise often spoke of mirror work, standing in front of a mirror, looking yourself in the eyes, and affirming powerful truths like, I love you, or I trust you. This can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've lived with self-criticism for years. But over time, these words soften the harsh edges of your inner dialogue. They become healing balm for old wounds. The mirror becomes your sacred space where negative self-talk is replaced with compassion and encouragement. You begin to see that your words not only shape your outer life, they begin to heal your inner world. That healing is where real transformation starts. The magic is in the repetition. One kind word may brighten your day, but consistent affirmations can rewire your entire identity. This is not just spiritual theory. Science backs it up. Neuroplasticity proves that the brain can form new pathways with repeated thought and language. That's why Louise Hay's affirmations feel so powerful. They train your mind to expect joy, peace, abundance, and love. And what the mind expects, the heart begins to believe. And what the heart believes, the universe mirrors back. Your words become your compass, pointing you toward the life you were always meant to live. In a world full of noise and negativity, your words can become your sanctuary. They can be your quiet revolution, your declaration of personal power. When others speak fear, you can speak faith. When the world says you can't, you can smile and affirm, I already am. Louise Hay's legacy is not just in her books or teachings. It's in every empowered soul who learns to use words not to wound, but to heal. So speak with love. Speak with power, speak with purpose. Because every time you do, you are not only shaping your reality, you are claiming your destiny. We often wonder why the things we desire seem delayed or denied, even when we ask with sincerity. The truth, as Louise Hay so powerfully taught, is that our own resistance creates invisible walls between us and our blessings. Resistance comes in many forms: fear of failure, guilt from the past, or doubt that we're truly worthy. These emotions form energetic blocks, closing the very channels we are praying to open. It's like trying to fill a cup that's already covered. No matter how much is being poured into it, nothing can get in. Letting go of resistance doesn't mean you give up on your desires. It means you stop holding so tightly that you choke off the flow. Real receiving begins when you finally exhale and trust. Fear is often the loudest voice in our inner dialogue. It disguises itself as caution, but more often it's just a mask for the belief that we are not safe in our own becoming. It whispers that if we try, we might fail. That if we dream too big, we might be disappointed. But Louise Hay reminded us that fear is simply a misuse of the imagination. It's a projection, not a prophecy. When we shift from imagining the worst to believing in the best, we allow the energy of abundance to rise up and meet us. We move from protection to participation, from hiding to harmony. Releasing fear means you choose faith, even when evidence hasn't shown up yet. And that faith is what transforms the unseen into the seen. Guilt is another heavy chain that keeps our good at bay. Many of us carry unspoken shame for things we did, said, or even thought. We feel undeserving, and that sense of unworthiness becomes a silent prayer we repeat over and over. But Louise Hay gently reminded us that guilt serves no one. It only delays healing and blocks joy. Forgiveness is the path back to receiving. Not just forgiveness of others, but of yourself. You cannot accept gifts from life if you are punishing yourself emotionally every day. The moment you say, I release myself from this guilt, I am worthy of good things, you unlock a space for blessings to land. The universe is always ready. It waits for you to believe you deserve what's already yours. Doubt may seem subtle, but its effect is powerful. It slips in quietly, often after we've affirmed something beautiful, whispering, What if this doesn't work? It creates cracks in the foundation of faith. Louise taught us to recognize these doubts without judgment, but to also consciously replace them. Every time doubt speaks, you have a choice to believe it or to affirm a higher truth. Doubt delays momentum. Faith accelerates it. And faith isn't about pretending you never worry. It's about choosing to return to belief more times than you fall into fear. Abundance responds to certainty. When you are sure, even silently, the universe mirrors that assurance with evidence. Letting go of resistance is an act of courage. It means loosening your grip on the old story. The one where things never work out, where people leave, where money runs out, where dreams fade. It means rewriting that narrative moment by moment, with language and energy that reflect trust. Louise Hay often said, "I trust the process of life." This wasn't denial, it was decision. A decision to believe that life is not working against you but with you. When you release the grip of control and fear, you fall into divine timing. Things you chased begin to chase you. Doors you knocked on begin to open by themselves. Resistance melts and flow begins. We are all born receivers. The universe doesn't have favorites. It flows to where there is openness. If you want to attract more love, you must make peace with who you are. If you want more abundance, you must feel safe having it. If you want joy, you must stop expecting pain. These shifts begin in the heart. Louise Hay's work reminds us again and again that we are the gatekeepers. We open or close the flow based on our beliefs and energy. So today, breathe deeply, release the fear, let go of the guilt, disarm the doubt. The moment you surrender, you receive. Not because you begged harder, but because you finally became available to all that was already waiting for you. There is a divine truth that many of us forget as we move through life. We were born worthy, not because of what we've achieved, not because of how perfect we are, but simply because we exist. Louise Hay spent her life reminding people that worthiness is not something you earn. It's something you remember. When you begin to affirm your desires, whether it's wealth, healing, love, or success, you must do it from the foundation of self-worth. If you ask for something, but secretly believe you don't deserve it, the energy behind the affirmation collapses. It's not just about what you say. It's about how much you believe in your right to say it. Too often, people affirm from a place of desperation or lack. They say things like, "I am rich," while deep inside they feel unworthy of abundance. They affirm, "I am loved," but feel unlovable inside. This mismatch creates friction, a resistance that blocks the very thing they want to attract. Louise Hay understood that affirmations must be built on a deep sense of deservingness. When you say, "I am worthy of love," it's not about convincing the world. It's about realigning yourself with your own truth. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Your worth is your birthright, and the moment you own it, the universe begins to reflect it back. Imagine walking into a room with confidence, knowing you belong there. That energy is magnetic. The same applies when you affirm your desires. When you believe with your whole being that success, peace, joy, and abundance are meant for you, your words carry a frequency that commands attention, not in arrogance, but in quiet power. Louise often spoke about how our inner beliefs are like magnets. If you believe you are worthy, you naturally attract experiences, people, and opportunities that match that belief. It's not magic, it's the law of alignment. The outside simply mirrors what's already happening inside you. Many of us grew up believing we had to earn love or approval. We tied our self-worth to grades, accomplishments, appearances, or how much others needed us. But that conditioning was never the truth. Affirming from worthiness means untangling yourself from the lies that say, "You're only enough, if." Louise Hay urged us to speak to ourselves with kindness and compassion, to nurture the inner child within who just wants to be told, "You are already enough." When you stand in front of a mirror and say, "I deserve the best," you are rewriting the scripts of scarcity that have held you back for too long. Affirming from worthiness also requires consistency. It's not a one-time declaration, it's a daily devotion to yourself, especially on the days when you don't feel worthy. That's when affirmations matter the most. Saying, "I deserve happiness," when you're heartbroken is not pretending, it's planting a new belief. Saying, "I am financially abundant," when you're struggling is not delusion, it's direction. Louise Hay didn't teach us to ignore reality. She taught us to transform it through belief. You don't have to wait until things get better to affirm your worth. You affirm your worth to make things better. When your affirmations are rooted in self-worth, they become unstoppable. You stop asking for scraps. You stop settling. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You rise. You expand. You say, "I am worthy of a life that excites me, relationships that honor me, and a future that empowers me." And the universe, in all its intelligence, responds in kind. It begins to rearrange itself around your belief, bringing you evidence that yes, you truly do deserve everything you've dared to dream. This is the heart of Louise Hay's work, knowing that when you love yourself enough to believe you deserve more, more always comes. When you pray from the end, you don't plead with life to change. You claim the outcome as already yours. Louise Hay taught that the universe doesn't respond to begging or desperation. It responds to belief and energy. When you act as though your desires are already part of your life, you align with the vibration of having, not wanting. Wanting creates a gap, having closes it. If you constantly affirm, "I want love," you're reinforcing the absence of love. But when you say, "I am deeply loved now," even before the relationship arrives, you are embodying the energy of that love. And energy always attracts its match. Living as if means shifting your identity to match the life you want. If your goal is success, you don't wait for the job title or money to start feeling successful. You begin today by walking, talking, dressing, and thinking like someone who knows they are already successful. This isn't about pretending. It's about practicing. You are practicing the mindset, emotions, and behaviors that match your vision. Louise Hay understood this spiritual truth deeply. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So when your thoughts, feelings, and actions are rooted in the future you've already claimed, life has no choice but to catch up. One of the most powerful ways to pray from the end is through visualization combined with affirmations. Close your eyes and see yourself already living the life you desire. Feel the emotions, smell the air, taste the joy. Say to yourself, "This is my reality." Louise often reminded us that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you feed it repeated images of joy, abundance, health, or peace, it begins to rewire your emotional responses and decisions. This creates a momentum that magnetizes opportunities and shifts circumstances in ways your logic could never orchestrate. Many people unknowingly block their blessings by constantly focusing on what's missing. They dwell in the energy of lack, thinking that once they have what they want, then they'll feel good. But the truth Louise Hay shared was revolutionary. Feeling good now is what makes your desires come faster. Joy is not just a result, it's a strategy. When you pray as if your dream is already fulfilled, you step into gratitude before the gift arrives. And gratitude is one of the most powerful attractors in the universe. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible, and possibility is the playground of miracles. To live as if is also to speak differently. You catch yourself when you say things like, "I hope it works out," and instead declare, "It is working out for me." Your language begins to match the energy of the life you're creating. You no longer seek validation. You become your own confirmation. Louise Hay encouraged people to talk to themselves with love and conviction, not just when things are good, but especially in moments of doubt. That's when affirming from the end is most powerful. When reality says one thing, but your soul chooses to speak the truth of what's becoming. Praying from the end isn't about ignoring your current reality. It's about elevating your relationship with it. You acknowledge where you are, but you don't live there mentally. You live in the vision. You carry yourself with the energy of someone who knows their good is inevitable. And in doing so, you create a magnetic field around your life that pulls in support, resources, people, and timing that once seemed impossible. Louise Hay didn't just want people to hope. She wanted them to know they were worthy, know they were powerful, and most of all, know that the life they desired was not somewhere far off in the future, but waiting to be claimed in the present. Self-love isn't just a feel-good idea. It's the foundation of every transformation, every breakthrough, and every miracle waiting to unfold in your life. Louise Hay firmly believed that loving yourself is not selfish, it's essential. It's the soil from which every other blessing grows. When you begin to treat yourself with kindness, forgiveness, and patience, your inner world changes. And when your inner world changes, your outer world follows. Life becomes less about struggle and more about allowing. Because when you love yourself, you stop resisting life. You start flowing with it. The doors that once seemed closed begin to open, not because you forced them, but because your energy welcomed them. So many people seek love, success, and abundance, believing that once they get those things, they will finally feel whole. But Louise taught us to reverse that formula. You don't attract love by needing it. You attract it by being it. You don't earn abundance by chasing it. You align with it by believing you're already worthy. And that belief starts with self-love. It's the quiet, steady voice that says, "I am enough," even when the world tells you otherwise. When you live from that truth, you stop begging for crumbs. You begin expecting miracles, and more importantly, you begin receiving them, not as random acts of luck, but as natural reflections of your worth. There's a power that ignites when you choose to see yourself through eyes of compassion. Your flaws become forgivable. Your past becomes your teacher, not your tormentor. Louise often spoke about mirror work, looking into your own eyes and saying, "I love you." At first, it may feel awkward, even painful, but over time, those words become healing balm. They begin to soften the hard edges of self-judgment and awaken a part of you that remembers the truth. You were never broken, just buried beneath layers of fear and conditioning. Self-love unearths that truth, and in doing so, you become magnetic to all that is meant for you. When you love yourself, your standards shift. You no longer tolerate relationships that drain you, environments that suffocate you, or thoughts that belittle you. You rise, not with arrogance, but with sacred clarity. Louise Hay always reminded us that life mirrors how we feel about ourselves. So if you want better from the world, give better to yourself first. Speak gently to your mind. Nourish your body, protect your peace. Every act of self-love is a signal to the universe. I am ready. Ready for better. Ready for joy. Ready for miracles that match the love you've learned to give yourself. The beauty of self-love is that it doesn't require permission. You don't need anyone's approval to begin. You can start right now, even in your lowest moment. Especially in your lowest moment. Louise taught that healing begins the moment you decide you're worth saving. And from that decision comes momentum. You start saying yes to what lifts you. You start saying no to what drains you. And little by little, the life you once dreamed of starts showing up. not because you chased it, but because you finally believed you deserved it. Self-love is the silent force that reshapes everything. Louise Hay's most powerful reminder was this: life loves you. And when you start to love yourself, you're no longer separate from that love. You become one with it. Life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a dance. You move with more grace, more trust, more joy. You begin to understand that your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. So love yourself deeply, love yourself daily, not because you're perfect, but because you are already worthy. And once you anchor into that truth, the miracles you've been hoping for won't just find you, they'll stay. When you choose to love yourself, affirm your worth, release resistance, and live as though your desires are already yours, you shift into alignment with the flow of life itself. Louise Hay didn't just teach about healing and abundance. She embodied a truth that your inner world creates your outer experience. The real secret isn't in forcing, chasing, or proving, it's in trusting, allowing, and becoming. Miracles aren't distant or rare. They're natural outcomes of a heart rooted in self-worth and a mind trained to expect the best. So, hold your vision, speak life over yourself, and know this: the universe responds to the energy you give it. And when that energy is love, pure, unapologetic, and unwavering, life opens and is more beautiful than you ever imagined.